Hello guys, this is Sherlock Nelson from Enjoy the Gaming, and today I'm gonna count down the top 10 PSP games. Now what you probably don't know about me is that the PSP was my first PlayStation console. I got it in 2006-2007 and I still believe this to be the best console I've ever played, probably because it's basically my first real console. I only played on the PC some smaller games when I was little, and then on the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance. But other than that, I didn't play many video games at all. And this one is the first real console that I ever played, and I have so many great memories. And today I wanted to honor it, since we have the PlayStation Vita now that I don't own, but I don't really want to own, because there aren't really that many games that I'm interested in. And I'm really attached to this piece of thing. Before we go on, there will be some honorable mentions in the end, before saying the number one game. And right now I also want to say that you can play a lot of PlayStation 1 games on this beauty. And let's start! At number 10 is Medieval Resurrection. Now, this game is a number 10 probably because it's the first game I've ever played on the PSP, and it's phenomenal. It's a remake of the medieval game for the PlayStation 1, and it's full of content. It's an hilarious video game. It has some relatively good action set pieces. It's funny. I really think it's one of the funniest games I've ever played. You can replay multiple levels to find the secrets. There are some hidden bosses. There are actually some great boss fights. The story is relatively interesting. The main villain is a badass and really stupid at the same time. It creeped me out a lot when I was a kid. I was like 9 or 10 years old, and it scared the shit out of me with all the ghosts in the main cutscene. But nowadays I get the humor a lot more. And number 10. Number 9 is Patapon 3. Now I could have gone with either one of the Patapon games. They were all fantastic in my opinion. I played them in order actually, the first one, then the second and the third one. The first one, really good game. The second one improved a lot, and the third one is almost perfect in the genre. It's basically a rhythm game, but with action. You have to press the 4 buttons rhythmic, following the rhythm of the game, and you can attack, you can retreat your troops, you can make some special moves. It's a ton of fun, and it just keeps going, the rhythm. Pata 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 pom 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 pata pom 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 pata pom pom pat. It's a crazy fun game to play. It's really long. It's one of those games where you also have to grind, so many people will be put off by that. But in the third one you actually have multiplayer, and you can play with up to 4 friends, and actually 3 friends, sorry. And it's just a blast to play. And this is why it's a number 9. At number 8, this is a kind of a cheat, because in the other 2 spots I put an actual game. In this one I'm putting the entire series. Monster Hunter. Now it originated on the PlayStation 2, sure, it continues now on the PlayStation Vita and on the Wii, but Monster Hunter Freedom 1, Monster Hunter Freedom 2, Monster Hunter United, I guess it's the third one? I don't know, but they're all fantastic monster hunting games. They're very deep, they're very Japanese games to play, they're very long, really long. You have to replay a lot of levels to get certain items. You can build the ultimate Monster Hunter, you can play with friends online and on LAN, and it's a great hunting game, probably one of the best in the genre. So I didn't really know which one to choose, because they have some differences, all of them, some are better, some are relatively worse, but they're all very great PlayStation games. At number 7 is Valkyria Chronicles 2. Now when this game was first announced, everyone was like, oh, what the fuck? Valkyria Chronicles 1 was on the PlayStation 3. Now we have to play this game on the PlayStation Portable? Hell no! It's gonna be a crappy game. You're wrong. It's an excellent Valkyria Chronicles game. It's also now available on Steam if I'm not mistaken. It's a weird combination of action and turn-based strategy. Basically you have a certain amount of moves that you can make with your character, moving around the level, and then choose to attack someone. and it gets intense. It's one of the hardest games on the console, and not unfair, but you need to think before doing some moves. If you waste a move, a unit, you can lose the entire game. You just go right instead of left, you have lost everything. And someone will destroy your tank, your entire team will be killed in just a couple of rounds. Damn it. At number 6 is the wet dream of every Final Fantasy fan, Dissidia Odyssey, Final Fantasy. I really loved the first Dissidia game, but the second one just improves everything. It has a kind of an open world to explore every level, you can find multiple enemies to beat. It has a good story, and you have almost every single hero and enemy of the Final Fantasy franchise up to Final Fantasy XIII. It's a fighting game with Final Fantasy characters. You can have Cloud fight Lightning. You can have, I don't remember the guy from Final Fantasy IV fighting Kefka. You have Terra fighting Sephiroth. It's every Final Fantasy fan's wet dream. It really is. And it's a great fighting game. One of my personal favorites because it's more of an action game rather than an actual fighting game. But it's a ton of fun. Great soundtrack, one of the best ones on the PSP. Great looking game and a great Final Fantasy game. Even though a lot of people don't know it, and that's a shame. A real shame. At number 5 is another one of those nostalgic games for me. Many people won't have this game on the list. Many will actually say, yeah, it's not all that great. But in my opinion, Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops is one of the best Metal Gear games and one of the best PSP games of all time. This one is probably about in 2008, and I remember reading on some game magazines about all the cheats and all the things that you can do in the game, and I was amazed. It was what you can recruit enemies from the levels, then send them on missions. You can use multiple characters. You have a spy unit, a medical unit. My mind was blown when I read it. Then I tried the actual game. I didn't care for the story. I almost skipped all the cutscenes when I was little. Now I can actually also enjoy the story, and I love this game. It's a long game. It's a very deep game. It's a game that you can play even fast. You can go in different levels. You can use Snake. You can use Eva. You can use Ocelot. You can use CJ. You can use multiple Metal Gear characters in multiple levels. You have 4 slots for the weapons and items. You go around. You take enemies and bring them back to your truck to interrogate them. You can also recruit them. They become part of your giant army. Send them on other missions. I was mind blown. I don't know why many people don't like this game. It's just, I love this game. I really love this game. There are many flaws with it, sure, but I love this game. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and also one of the best games on the PSP. At number 4 we have Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII, also known as my favorite Final Fantasy game, because I'm a person that likes to rush things, okay? I'm not the biggest strategy fan. So that's why you're noticing games like Lumines or other weird strategy games on this list, because I'm an action guy, okay? When I play video games, I like action games. We have control the situation, we can attack, we can parry. And Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core is one of those weird combinations where you have strategy, kind of turn-based combat, but it's still an action RPG. And it tells a better story than Final Fantasy VII in my opinion. The story of Zack is way more interesting than Cloud's. It's very emotional, especially in the ending. It's a very epic way to end the game. Sad way, awesome song in the end. I always cry when it starts playing, and I love this game. And I think that every Final Fantasy fan should play it. Actually, you must play it, especially if you like Final Fantasy VII. And now that we're getting the remake, you can just buy the game, emulate it on your PC, it will work just fine. Play it, you can spend even 100 hours on it, and you won't regret it. Trust me. And now we're at the final 3 games. I was almost going to tie all of them, but in the end I had to make a list, and I decided to put them in this order. So at number 3 we have God of War, Ghost of Sparta. I love the God of War games. They're brutal, they have a really interesting mythological story, many multiple creatures, every game is different in my opinion, not from a gameplay standpoint, but from a story standpoint, really interesting. And though every single thing happens all the time, he always goes to Hades and comes back, and dies. Whatever. Beautiful game, first of all, probably the best looking game on the PSP. Really fun, fast-paced story, great action, great violence, great soundtrack, multiple weapons, lots of replayability, great costumes. What else? Well-hidden secrets, unlike in Chains of Olympus. Variety of enemies. A real God of War game. When you're playing this game, it could be easily played on the PS3, and there actually is a remastered for the PS3. When you play it, you won't believe this is just on this little thing. You're saying, what the fuck is happening? It's everything on the screen, 60 FPS, going really fast, really smooth, and you can't believe it's just all inside this little thing. It's not even as big as my face. I mean, come on. At number 2 is Kingdom Hearts, Birth by Sleep. I also really like the Kingdom Hearts game, but I actually didn't play this one first. I played the first Kingdom Hearts on the PS2, then Kingdom Hearts 2, and then when this came out I was really excited because I knew that this beast could do anything. And it delivered the best Final Fantasy, the best Kingdom Hearts in my opinion. Really likable characters, really different characters, all the 3 main characters play very different. I like how the story entangle each other, they meet each other's characters, there are multiple new worlds to explore, many mini-games. An interesting story without getting as convoluted as Kingdom Hearts 2. It has all the action, it has all the special characters. It also has multiplayer if I'm not mistaken. There are mini-games multiplayer, but still there's multiplayer Kingdom Hearts. And it's a phenomenal video game. One of the, not probably the best video games of all time, but definitely on the top of the list for the top PSP games. And now, before going with the obvious probably number 1 spot, especially if you follow this channel, I have some honorable mentions. Siphon Filter Logan's Shadow, great stealth third-person shooter. Resistance Retribution, from the same guys of Logan's Shadow, great third-person shooter based on the Resistance games. Castlevania Dracula X Chronicles, a great Castlevania game. It also features Symphony of the Night if you know how to unlock it. Best game of all time. Not really bad. Silent Hill Shattered Memories, creepy game, interesting story, really replayable. It's just the same as on the Wii. I'm fucking up right now. Loco Roco 2, fun little game to play, not the best of the PSP, but still a really enjoyable game just to put in and play. Final Fantasy IV The Complete Collection, not the biggest fan of this genre, but every Final Fantasy fan should own it if you love these games, especially because it contains all the Final Fantasy IV games. And last but not least, Third Birthday, or Parasite Eve the Third Birthday. Action game, really weird, really Japanese. I liked it, kind of, but it's a very well developed game, so that's why it's on the honorable mentions. And now, number 1. Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. You knew this was coming. You knew this was coming. This isn't probably just the best PSP game. This is probably one of the best games of all time. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. I am, sorry. But it's it's the best PSP game of all time. Probably one of the best Metal Gear games. Probably the 3rd or 4th spot right now. Great action. They improved the recruitment system, they have bigger levels, there is more action. You can only play as Snake, but you can also play with other 3 players online or in LAN. You can go on different missions, there are multiple secrets, multiple weapons to develop. You can develop Mother Base, which will come back in Metal Gear Solid 5 the Phantom Pain. You also have, what else? You can develop, just too many. Great story, really great story, really emotional in the end. Doesn't make sense all the time, but it's a Metal Gear game, what do you want? Fantastic main theme by Gregson Williams, I think. Really good graphics, improved combat, the best combat in the franchise before the new ones. Well, the new ones took the combat of this one. Great variety of weapons, really good stealth system. You can use the Fulton recovery system to take enemies and bring them to your base without having to carry them to the truck every single time, like in portable ops. Many things that make this the best PSP games. It doesn't run smoothly at 20 FPS, but it doesn't matter. It's a beautiful, beautiful game, and the best PSP game of all time. So guys, this was my list of the best PSP games of all time. Tell me what your favorite PSP games are. Tell me if you disagree with some of my choices. I know you don't like portable ops, or probably you don't even like Dissidia Duodecim, and you wanted some games higher on the list, some games lower on the list. Tell me what you prefer, because I don't know, this is just my personal list. I've played almost every PSP game, I'm not kidding. There are many more that I wanted to put on the list. Maybe in the honorable mentions, but I didn't want to make a 30 honorable mention list. So guys, tell me what your favorite PSP games are, and I'll see you in the next video.